What's up guys, my name's Nex, and today I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about how to PvP in the Elder Scrolls Online, from how to join a group to what your character will need in a PvP situation. Now, whether you're new to ESO or just new to Cyrodiil, you're going to need to know the basics. Cyrodiil is different from the rest of Tamriel because you don't travel using way shrines. Instead, you use a similar system called transitive shrines. You can use transitive shrines to travel from keep to keep as long as the keep isn't under attack or all three of the resources surrounding the keep owned by an opposing faction. Joining a group in Cyrodiil isn't as hard as it may seem. First things first, you're going to want to go into social, then text chat, and then make sure you're in the zone option. Now since PlayStation won't let me record me typing, all you're going to want to do is type in L, F, and then G, or just LFG, and then you can type in what class you're playing or your role. So I play a spin to win, so I would put spin to win in, or if you're healing you can put healer or anything like that. And hopefully you'll get picked up by a group leader. Most of the time you will. The most important stat for group play in Elder Scrolls Online is a little hidden stat called critical resistance. Now resistance in general is a necessity for all roles in PvP, unlike in PvE where only a tank will be worried about the resistance. But critical resistance is the most important thing because of vicious death bombing. Now, vicious death bombing, or bombing in general, is where someone uses high hitting AoE damage. And a vicious death is a set that when someone dies from their attack, the set will explode, or the person will explode, dealing damage to anyone 6 meters or something like that. That's close to the person that died. Now, if you're a VD proc, which most PvE players or new players are, because they don't have this critical resistance buff, people get angry. That's all there is to it. People can get real mad about getting VD proc. That's what it's called, and that's what you don't want to be doing. Now, there's two ways to raise your critical resistance. Now, everybody starts with 1300 critical resistance, but you can buff this number in your red tree of your CP. It's right here, resistant. So I always run 75 for 1500 extra critical resistance, and that puts me up to 2800, which is fine. 2800 is a little bit low for group play because you're closer to like other players. Like if your group gets bombed, then like if your crit resistance isn't high enough and you're the VD proc, people are going to get angry, right? But if you're playing solo, you can run 2800 pretty comfortably because you don't have to worry about bombs as much. But the second way to buff your critical resistance is through a trait called impenetrable. Now impenetrable is probably the #1 trait for PvP, and you're going to want this on at least 2 pieces. You can run it on 5, but I run 2-piece impen and then 5 divines. So yeah, critical resistance is very important, and it often gets overlooked by most people when they're talking about PvP. Like I said about resistance before in PvP, it's not only useful for tanks, but it's also useful for all classes, and it is a necessity for all classes and roles. Classes, roles, same thing. You're going to want some source of major resolve. Now major resolve gives you 5000 resistance for physical and spell resistance. Now all classes have a source of major resolve. Nightblade is a little bit more difficult because it's through their passives that they get major resolve when they use a certain skill line. I can't remember what it is, but Dragon Knight has their spiked armor, and I'm on a warden, so I have Ice Fortress. Now this will give you the major resolve buff, and you're going to want this on all classes. Anything less than 18,000 resistance and you're getting dangerously low. Like on my front bar, I'll have 20,000 resistance. I'll have 20,000 resistance, and even 20,000 resistance is pretty low. You can see the big difference between 14,000 and 20,000. That's going to be the real difference between how hard you're getting hit and surviving and killing people, or dying and, you know, not having fun. So make sure you have major resolve on all your characters, whether they're a tank, a healer, or a DPS, because this is number one. You're going to want this. Health is extremely important in PvP compared to PvE, where people will run 18,000 health. Now, in PvP, that ain't gonna fly. In PvP, you're gonna want a minimum of 27 to 28,000 health, and I know that sounds a lot, but when you come into PvP, your health goes up by 5,000, and then you have your Undaunted passives, which buffs that even more, along with heavy passives and other things. So it's not that hard to reach 27 or 28. I also run like 14 points into health just to help with that, to help me get up there. My food ran out, that's why it said 21, I swear. But most people actually on PS4 North America have 30,000 or more, and just having higher health makes you harder to bomb. You can live through lag a lot easier. Like if you get CC'd, you have more time to like break that CC while you're stuck in the lag, and it just overall makes it easier and more enjoyable. Like you won't be getting two-piece bursted by a dirty stam warden named Nexus, you know. So yeah, you're gonna want 27 to 28,000. Anything less than that, 25 you can maybe get away with if you're dodge rolling a stupid amount, but anything less than that, you'll probably be getting laughed at a little bit. Probably some people might ask you if you have your food on. So yeah, make sure you got good health. So self-healing is something I feel is overlooked and often forgotten about in the PvE to PvP discussion. A lot of the time during the PvP events, I'll see a lot of PvEers that just won't be healing themselves, and I don't know, maybe they're just out of mag or out of stam and they just can't, but a lot of times I feel like I see this, and I just wanted to put this in here. You can't always rely on your healers, and just like making their lives easier, like having everyone in PvP has self-heals. In PvE it's a lot different. You're gonna want, like in PvE you have 2 destros or like 2 damage bars. In PvP you're gonna have a front bar, which is gonna be your damage, and then your back bar is gonna be heals and buffs and stuff like that. So in PvE it's usually like your back bar is like your dots or however you want to do it, right? But in PvP you're gonna have a lot less damage skills, and I'm going to talk about that next. But make sure you got self heals on, whether it's vigor or it's rapid regen. You get vigor from the assault line. This is like your #1 heal for a stam tune, or your class abilities. Like I also got good old fashioned shrooms on, you know what I mean? And then also rapid regen from the restoration staff skill line. So make sure you got some heals on, make it easier for your healers, and you're just going to live a lot more. You're just going to live a lot longer, a lot more. And make sure you have your hots up. That's another thing. You got to keep those heals over time up. Think of heals over time while you're fighting someone as almost like damage mitigation. Like if someone hits you for a 5,000 dizzy swing and you get a 3,000 vigor crit heal, that's going to turn that 5,000 D swing into a 2,000 D swing. You know what I mean? So make sure you keep your hots up. Make your healers' lives easier, and keep yourself alive. Come on. So in PvP, the way you deal damage is much different than how it's dealt in PvE. First things first, in general you're going to want to get rid of any stationary ground dots, because people are always moving in Cyrodiil. This means skills like Wall of Elements and Arrow Barrage are no longer going to be viable for your builds. What you're going to want when it comes to PvP is hard hitting burst damage with attacks like Dizzy Swing, Crystal Frags, and Spectra Arrow. And you're also going to want a combination of hard hitting attacks along with burst damage like I have with Shulks or Beetles. And what you're going to want to do for your burst damage is you're going to want to line up with your ult. If I can get my ult real quick. Anyways, So you're gonna want to pop your timed attack, and then you pop your timed attack, you hit your D swing, and then you medium attack into a Dawn Breaker or your ultimate, or if you were playing on a Sork, you would be using like the curse, the timed curse ability with crystal frags and streak and meteor and that type of thing. And yeah, you're not going to want ground dots because people are moving. You want hard hitting burst abilities that you can fit as many, you want to fit as many attacks into your combination. So like if I go like this, go like this, go like this, and then it all hits at the same time. So that's what you want to be doing in PvP. You don't want like if I were to check my parse on this dummy, it would be about 20k or so. You don't want high parse because the high parse just doesn't work. It works in PvE because people aren't moving, the bosses aren't moving, and you can get that super high damage per second. You just want damage in 1 second instead of damage over a long amount of time. And that burst is pretty general. You can also make dot builds, of course. There's all kinds of builds that you can do in ESO, but in general, when it comes to PvP and doing damage and getting kills, it's all about the burst. Okay guys, so this is my first video like this ever, and I just hope you don't roast me too hard in the comments. I hope you got something out of this video, whether it's just how to travel from keep to keep or critical resistance. I know a lot of people don't know about that. Yeah, like if you got something out of this video, make sure you leave it a like, and if you subscribe, that would be pretty cool as well. And let me know in the comments if you want more of these videos, because I have a couple ideas of some other things that I can do. So just let me know, and if I didn't explain anything like good enough, just ask in the comments and I'll make sure to reply to it. Alright, thanks guys. Peace.